In the long, steady history of the American presidency, there are patterns. Governors become presidents. Senators become presidents. Generals become presidents. But on June 16, 2015, a man descended a golden escalator in New York City and shattered the pattern forever. Donald John Trump did not enter the race as a politician. He entered as a brand. And for the next decade, he would not just participate in American politics, he would consume it. To understand the fact behind his presidency, how a real estate mogul with no political experience captured the White House not once, but twice, we have to look beyond the headlines. We have to look at the mechanics of fame, the power of a forgotten electorate, and a political strategy that rewrote the rulebook. This is the story of the 45th and 47th President of the United States. This is the story of the most improbable political comeback in American history. The first fact behind the Trump presidency is that his campaign didn't begin in 2015. In many ways, it began in 2004 on a soundstage at NBC. For 14 seasons, The Apprentice beamed a specific image of Donald Trump into millions of American living rooms. He wasn't portrayed as a controversial tabloid figure. He was portrayed as the ultimate boss, decisive, wealthy, in charge. While Washington politicians were debating policy papers in committees, Trump was firing people on primetime television. He was building a name recognition that money literally could not buy. Political analysts often missed this. They looked at his lack of policy experience as a weakness. But for millions of voters, his business background was his qualification. He sold the idea that the United States was simply a distressed asset that needed a ruthless CEO to turn it around. The fact here is simple. He didn't need to introduce himself to the American people. They already felt they knew him. And more importantly, they felt he was someone who could get things done. When the 2016 election cycle began, the establishment laughed. But Trump had a weapon they didn't understand: direct communication. Before Trump, candidates spoke to voters through the filter of the media press releases, carefully curated interviews, and scripted speeches. Trump bypassed the filter entirely. He used Twitter, now X, to speak directly to the gut of the electorate. His language was simple, repetitive, and emotionally charged. Linguists who analyzed his speeches found they were written at a fourth-grade reading level, not due to a lack of intelligence, but as a deliberate strategic choice to maximize accessibility and emotional impact. He spoke the language of the barstool, not the boardroom. He identified a massive, dormant voting bloc, the white working class in the Rust Belt states like Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. These were voters who felt abandoned by globalization, ignored by the cultural elites, and left behind by the economic recovery. Trump offered them a simple narrative. The system is rigged against you, and I am the only one brave enough to break it. On November 8, 2016, the blue wall crumbled. The reality TV star became the commander-in-chief. The fact behind the victory? He didn't win by chasing the center. He won by mobilizing the fringe and the forgotten. His first term was a whirlwind of disruption. He appointed conservative judges, slashed regulations, and engaged in a trade war with China. He governed exactly as he campaigned, chaotically, loudly, and with a focus on his base. But then came 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic stripped away the booming economy, his strongest asset. The 2020 election against Joe Biden was a referendum on chaos versus stability. Biden won by promising a return to normalcy. When Trump refused to concede, culminating in the events of January 6th, it seemed his political career was over. He left Washington not in triumph, but in exile. History tells us that former presidents fade away. They write memoirs. They paint. They build libraries. They do not run again. But Donald Trump is not a student of history. He is a creator of his own reality. Only one man in U.S. history had ever lost the White House and come back to win it 4 years later. Grover Cleveland in 1892. It is a feat that requires a unique set of circumstances. Between 2021 and 2024, the fact behind Trump's survival was his iron grip on the Republican Party. Even out of office, he remained the kingmaker. By 2024, the political winds had shifted again. The normalcy that Biden promised had been replaced by new anxieties: inflation, border security, and global instability. Trump's 2024 campaign was different. It was more disciplined. He tapped into a powerful force: nostalgia. He asked voters a simple question, one made famous by Ronald Reagan: "Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago?" For enough voters in key swing states, the answer was no. They looked back at the pre-pandemic economy of the Trump years with rose-tinted glasses. They didn't vote for the chaos. They voted for the memory of cheap gas and low interest rates. In November 2024, he defeated Kamala Harris, completing the greatest political comeback in American history and becoming the 47th president. So, what is the ultimate fact behind Donald Trump being president? It is that he understood the modern American psyche better than any politician of his era. He understood that in a fragmented, digital world, attention is the most valuable currency. He understood that anger is a stronger motivator than hope. And he understood that for millions of Americans, the system wasn't something to be fixed, it was something to be burned down. Donald Trump proved that the old rules of politics, civility, experience, consistency were just guidelines. And guidelines can be ignored if you have the will, the brand, and the votes to rewrite them. Whether you view his presidency as a triumph or a tragedy, the fact remains: he changed the office and the country forever.